Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome to something a little bit different. I've got TA. He's here with me. How amazing is this? We've got synced up thanks to Patogo. What an absolute legend. TA, how amazing is this? We've been wanting to do this for ages.
This is amazing. This is a dream come true. I remember I was like praying and asking people, please do it, and Patogo did it. And now we're here.
You've done a few of these already, haven't you? Have you done one with Blackheart? You did one with Slow?
Blackheart was really awesome to do it with. The Slow, we did one with 5 people in it. We had like half of the top 10 in there. It was so awesome. I was learning left and right. It's pretty cool. With Napalm, me and Napalm have a couple of really good ones. So we have like this, we can sync up without the syncing program, but this helps.
Insane. I mean, I tried one with Napalm a while ago, and it was a nightmare. It just wasn't happening before, obviously, Patogo came out with this awesome piece of software. But yeah, no, so obviously, guys, you can check out all of those casts on TA4Life's channel, which is Praise Google Our Master. I'm pretty sure I've got that linked somewhere.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, definitely. You have that on your front page on the right side.
And
thanks for that one.
You're going to record this one as well?
Yeah, I'll record it as well. So we have 2 different versions. So we'll see what we all look at.
Amazing. Alrighty, well, we've got some Average Joe's action for you today. If we get TA to launch the game, and we'll get it all synced up, it's going to be Average Joe's action, and it's going to take place on Fields of Isis. So without any further ado, let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on.
Yeah, should be going.
Alrighty, syncing in as we speak. So all very excited. For those of you who don't know what the deal is with this, PCs basically run FA at different speeds, so making dual casting absolute nightmare. You can imagine 2 people at different corners of the world watching the game at different speeds, trying to get a comment going on anything that's happening at the same time is basically impossible. So
yeah, 1 second ahead, and you have totally different emotions.
Yeah.
For some of the action that happens.
So
I remember we had some issues with Gyle where we were trying to do like a 2-hour cast. It was a bit of a nightmare. So is it? So it's loading up, right?
So I'm in, and I'm sitting on 1 second, presumably waiting for everything to go down your end.
Same here for me. I think I know maybe what I did. Yeah.
And we have commencement. That's
excellent.
Amazing. So, yeah, man. So, Fields of Isis, we'll call it Team 1 over on the left-hand side, Team 2 over on the right. Going first for Team 1 down here at the bottom left in Pontiff White. Going Cyber and opening first land, it's Andyroooo. Seen a lot of this guy in the past, but not actually cast a great deal of him. You were saying he was a bit of a troll, TA.
Oh, well, he likes to do some crazy things. Most Aussies are trolls, I think, by nature. I don't know. That's kind of what I've seen. I'm sure Andyroooo will appreciate that.
Yeah, and his teammate up here, this guy's new to me. It's FhatStyle going UEF, Ferrari Red opening first land. Master race, of course. TA won't agree with that, but...
well, UEF... they're alright. I mean, they're kind of weak.
You're holding back saying they're the newbie race, aren't you? That's what you mean when you say they're alright.
Actually, in the latest balance, I feel kind of bad for them. But yeah, they are.
No, that's alright. We'll get it corrected. Well, everything will slide back into position where it's supposed to be. Anyway, we'll call it Team 2 over on the left. Let's take a look at these 2 guys. Bottom right in Regal Purple, it's CaptainShrapnel going UEF as well. Already making his move towards the middle. He opened first land. And last but not least, now making his move to the middle as well, is DrAnnhilation. Sounds very scary. And Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, going Seraphim, opening first land. Now, tell me, TA, back in GPG days...
some of the first action. I mean, we got to say this. Look at what they're doing. They're doing a 2 ACU versus 1 here. CaptainShrapnel. He's doing a crazy move. I think they're giving up.
Andyroooo sticking in his base to work on that Hydro instead of making the move towards the early mass. But seriously, though, taking a look at ISIS in general, I remember back in GPG days, ISIS was one of the core maps. There was always like 5 Settings games being hosted or up, and then there was like 5 ISIS games. But hardly anyone plays ISIS anymore. What's going on with that? I don't really understand.
Yeah, I think people got much better. I think people realized that there's more to this game than just being a turtle. The reason people liked ISIS is that it was safe.
Yeah.
You could sit back behind all these choke points, relax, and you actually get to play for a little bit. But I think now there's so many more good players that you can play other maps. You rely on your teammates a little more. But it's basically a new map. It's like the small version of Thermo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's fair play. That's fair enough. These two guys now going 2v1 up top. Poor old FhatStyle is about to have some serious ACU problems up there. Andyroooo,
Yeah,
completely
this is where it's
disinterested
critical
in the
to
middle.
get that early. Yeah, I think this is where it's critical to get that early scout. You want to see those two ACUs going towards you as soon as possible so you can run the other direction.
Certainly has no clue that anything is coming his way, but he's about to have a very, very bad day.
Commander
He's going to expect to see
attack.
one. This should be a clue right now because that's not his mirror, of course. His mirror is DrAnnhilation, and it'd be very unusual for these two just to swap sides, so it should be an inkling that he's about to get double-teamed.
Yeah. If you paid attention to colors, and you can see how they are, Shrapnel is going deep. He's not stopping. And also at the same time, Andyroooo lost his engineer reclaiming mass, so that's a big loss for him.
Of course, yeah, we've got a few mech marines in the south. Quite a few, actually. That's probably the most opening mech marines I think I've ever seen produced. Certainly in an ISIS.
Yeah, he doesn't like engineers.
Mantis makes it out of there, moving north to assist his teammate with just 67 HP left on the clock, but that leaves an awful lot of mech marines sitting around in the middle of their territory to make a nuisance of themselves. FhatStyle backing himself up, 6,300 hit points and falling, loses the radar that was under construction there, and no sign that Shrapnel or Annihilation are going to back off. Andyroooo's going to bring in a few Mantis to assist.
Good move from Andyroooo. Oh, what an overcharge.
Absolutely crazy.
And
6,000
I think
hit
Dr.
points.
Annihilation here, he lost an opportunity here. He's lagging a bit behind.
Yeah, not the greatest spacing between these two. And it's actually allowed FhatStyle to keep up with Shrapnel in the hit point race as he backs up to safer territory. Where is Andyroooo's comm? He's still sitting in his base. He has overwhelming confidence in his teammate here to prevail. He's just not going to come and help.
FhatStyle ran all the way back home. So see, first 4 minutes, we've had FhatStyle run out and run back. And the other two ACUs plus a whole bunch of mech marines right at the choke point.
You got to admit, this is a very untypical ISIS. Usually at this time, you'd expect there to be two different face-offs going on between all 4 ACUs at the 2 apertures in the middle, and instead we've got Team 1 sitting in their base doing, well, not a lot. It's just building up now. It's all they can do. So you're at this situation. It's ISIS. You've lost the entire map in the first 5 minutes. What do you do?
Yeah, that's kind of... I mean, you kind of want to go for a kill, I think, here if you're Andyroooo. I mean, I don't know what Andyroooo has been doing. You kind of expect to have an army or something like that where you can counterattack, because the team that came in with 2 ACUs like that, they should have less units because their unit have to travel so much further. If you just sit there and do nothing, you're going to be a big disadvantage because this is a lot of reclaim that Andyroooo and FhatStyle just gave up, which is going to be turned into a whole bunch of units.
Andyroooo is at least sitting on 3, nearly 4 T2 mexes though at his core, so he's been sitting inside, teching up his eco. So what they're yielding on the bottom in reclaim and territory, he should at least be keeping up with things. He's actually leading the game at the moment, up around 30 mass per tick eco or income from the eco. And we've got a Jester coming into the front as well from Andyroooo, taking some fire though from defending interceptors from Dr.
4
Annihilation.
kills for the Jester. Yeah, it's nice for Annihilation that he actually has some interceptors now, otherwise it could be really bad.
But look at them, they're just going to corner them in now, happy to set up a bunch of PD. It's a very intimidating setup now from Team 1. This is like the worst start to a game you could possibly have.
Yeah, the Dr. Annihilation and Shrapnel need to go Tech 2 here as soon as possible. One of them should assist the other. If you do a Tech 2 point defense creep and get some Tech 2 shields, you're very safe. And that's really the way to end this game. If they stay at Tech 1, they could be a disadvantage because we already see Tech 2 land from PhatStyle.
Yep.
Which means he can get something like mobile missile launchers and just lob things at him from far away.
I've got a upgrade going on Shrapnel's comm. What are we looking at with that one? It's probably going to be T2, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it's got to be T2. Yeah, it's on the left side. But we do see the Mongoose getting some kills. And yeah, Andyroooo coming out with a couple of gestures here on the bottom. Let's see, he's going to do some raiding.
Queued up mexes already on that bottom position. Engineer on its way. Is it going to make it? No. No rice for you.
No. No, right. No. There's plenty of interceptors for DrAnnhilation. If he chooses to win air, I think he can easily do it. There's also Tech 2 land for Annihilation, so we might see some Tech 2 flak. It would be really nice if he sends some up. He is making Ilsheva. I think Ilsheva is really not that useful at this point. I'd either go mobile missile launchers and some Tech 2 flak, some Tech 2 engineers, get Tech 2 power.
So
far we just basically see Tech 1 power. Exactly. This is all about ranges at this stage. Andyroooo here seems very calm. I would be doing something crazy. I don't understand what his plan is. His plan is to make some more pigeons.
Where's he sitting at now? It's 54 mass per tick coming in for Andyroooo. I mean, it's fluctuating quite a lot, but he's looking right. Taking a look at the reclaim side of things, 3,000 grabbed banked so far for Andyroooo. PhatStyle on 2,300, having major power issues as we speak. DrAnnhilation, by contrast, banked 6,130 so far, and CaptainShrapnel on a paltry 2,100. So definitely Team 2, as you would expect, making out better so far in the reclaim side of things. The first 8-9 minutes of this one.
Definitely, and I think the big problem for Andyroooo and PhatStyle is that they're so low on power, both of them. There you can't really share with each other. And yeah, this is I think big mistake, and especially Andyroooo here. With 3 air factories using up so much of that power, I think they need to really stick to ground because they really can't afford air. Well, we're seeing DrAnnhilation and Captain, their economies are just overall much better. It's a question of whether or not they'll be able to hold on to this position, and they're getting some TMD. And it looks like they actually got the gun and Tech 2 for Shrapnel.
Ah, so yeah, that's going to be issues. Major issues you'd expect in the coming minutes. Here he's got the Zeph Amp and T2 engineering suite sitting on that bad boy. TMD now in place, that first buzzkill online, but we have got a triad working its way through the initial T1 PDs there set up by DrAnnhilation. PhatStyle trying to push out with that. He needs to start working on another one though soon, would you not think?
Yeah, you gotta get as many Tech 2 in this Tech 2 point defense standoff here. You gotta get as many of them as far as possible, and you gotta target the enemy point defenses. That's really all you gotta do. And one good thing to do here is to send scouts on a patrol right above the other person's base, and I think that may be a problem for PhatStyle. He doesn't really know what he's shooting at.
Taking a look at what they can see. They've got some preliminary kind of intel from, I don't even know where that's coming from. Is that just coming from the comm? He's got, there's a radar further back. There we go. Radar. Yeah, there's a radar back near his hydro.
But it's really not looking good. I think he is going to be pushed further back. And Shrapnel here, with actually the gun with some overcharges, can really push him back. Major problems, and I think here with no TMD for PhatStyle, he's in prime position to get sniped. His mass extractors are at Tech 2 and great targets.
Shrapnel and Annihilation now pushing once again with both their comms coming in as well with the odd Ilsheva to make life difficult. PhatStyle forced to back up into his own territory.
I bet he wished he had a power storage.
An overcharge here or there would definitely not go amiss right now. Backing a little bit further up. There aren't a lot of units on the ground for Team 2, but you probably think they don't really need it at the moment, especially not having that gun on Shrapnel's ACU to top things off.
The feeling here is if PhatStyle did something to Shrapnel and our Annihilation. Seems like they really want to kill him. I mean, they've been chasing him all game here. And now he's just running all the way back to his starting position. and they don't really care about Andyroooo, and Andyroooo doesn't care about anybody at all, neither his allies or the enemy. So it's really kind of a strange
He's
situation.
just happy to turtle. Cerberus turrets going up on his side of things. It's like, it's all good. PhatStyle, he's like, you've got this, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! But what's basically happening here is that PhatStyle's base has been abandoned, and now all the Tech 2 mass extractors are going to turn into nice wrecks for Annihilation and Shrapnel. So they've repossessed the property. I guess maybe PhatStyle stole some.
You're not privy to all of the in-game chat. Maybe he said something about one of their mothers before this started. You don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, maybe we should investigate. Somebody can leave this in the comments. Yeah.
But, yeah, Annihilation just working on a T1 PD right in the core of PhatStyle's base. PhatStyle trying to counter with the odd T1 bomber, but far too many interceptors out for Dr. Annihilation, covering the skies over the top of that base. Does manage to get a mongoose out, and Dr. Annihilation, I think it's fair to say, is probably pretty taxed on his eco right now. He's spending absolutely ages trying to complete that T1 PD, but there it goes. And I think that's going to signal the end of that little base.
Oh, that base. I would capture some of that stuff if you have. I mean, if the Tech 2 ECU would capture.
Andyroooo is managing to
capture pretty quick.
Cut them off from reinforcements. He's continuing that point defense creep, slowly sealing that front aperture.
This could be a strategic blunder here by Annihilation and Shrapnel. They've completely abandoned their bases, and they're going to be cut off from their reinforcements.
Shrapnel working on a shield gen, trying to secure their positions. Got one triad already in place. Andyroooo's actually in range of that. It's taking a little bit of fire in the back there.
The only thing better than huge chunks of mass to reclaim is if it's freshly killed enemy base.
Yeah.
It's so nice to reclaim a Tech 2 HQ. It's like 600, 700 mass, and Annihilation is basically feeding off his eco off that.
Yeah.
And it also sucks for PhatStyle. He's looking from far away at his base, which is just getting devoured here.
And we've actually got a T2 transport ready to evac the comms if things get too hairy, brought in there by Annihilation. So they have a contingency plan.
There will be a very dangerous plan because Andyroooo has a whole bunch of interceptors.
Question is,
looks like Andyroooo being nice, sharing power.
Yeah, a whole ton of P-gens. There you go. You see, it was all strategic. He knew what he was doing when he was sitting in his base building P-gens. He knew this was going to go down like this. Annihilation getting the evac.
If you planned this. Yeah.
Oh, or not. Looked like he was going to go pick him up
there.
There.
Here come the interceptors.
Wise decision.
Plan B is going to be denied. Yeah, don't get into that. There's another one coming in.
Down it goes, but they're going to want to finish off those inties first.
Yeah, Andyroooo is going to get air dominance here. Although
but look at
this. Some Tech 2.
The odd fire beetle sitting right next to the comms. They're having some command issues.
Oh, this is going to be bad. You got to target the fire beetles. Oh, nice overcharge. He just saved his life right there.
So how much damage does
3,500 damage per.
8,500?
It's a 3,500.
Oh, 3,500. I was going to say.
Per fire beetle. It's the same thing as a Mercy.
Shrapnel's sitting on 19,500 HP at full, so I think he probably could have.
Yeah, he can take a couple to the chest from there. Yeah, he'd take like 6 or 7.
I like this push though from Team 1. PhatStyle coming back into his base, working on a shield gen, has that up and running, but another transport coming in, and this time Andyroooo doesn't have the interceptor coverage to prevent them from getting those commanders out, I don't think. He's got the odd interceptor circling in the area.
Yeah, those Nothas are excellent. Swift ones are better, but Nothas are actually very good anti-air Tech 2.
So you would say they would be the kind of second best maybe on the field for T2 planes?
Yes, in terms of anti-air. They're really bad in terms of bombs because they don't know how to drop them. They're really horrible at that.
That goes for like half the bombers in SOPCOM though, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of unfair because the Tech 1 bomber is so good. So I'm okay with that bug.
And Shrapnel is going to get the evac as well. So Interesting passage of play. They got in, they've destroyed, they've completely nullified and muted PhatStyle. He's like essentially out for the next...
They just wanted to reclaim their factories.
Yeah, why not?
That's all they wanted. The mission complete.
Andyroooo
that was nice.
Has a nice front line now, and it's definitely going to look like it's turning into a mobile missile spam fest between these two guys. We've got Vipers coming out from Andyroooo. We've got those, how would you say that? Ethiza for the Seraphim mobile missile launcher?
Ethiza. Yep, Ethiza. That's as good. Well, I have no idea. Seraphim, I don't play him, and I don't talk about it.
I try it every now and again. I think it's important to be inclusive, even if you sound special when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Whole bunch
chickens. I know chickens.
It was actually you who told me that that's what they should be called. Like, we're going back a year now, but...
Actually, the interesting thing, I think chickens are actually the Ilshavas, but don't tell anybody. I think that was screwed up a long time ago.
I see. I do like, yeah, they look like chickens. That kind of makes sense. But a whole bunch of flapjacks sitting back here doing nothing for CaptainShrapnel. Mo needs to bring those in. Finally, looks like he's going to do that. That's going to be a lot.
Yeah, this is a good force. This is going to be a lot.
There's a lot of mobile missile coverage for Team 1 to deal with.
Yeah, and those are about 600 damage per second. Oh, no, sorry, I'm lying. I think per shot, and they're about every 10 seconds. But they do a shot.
Andyroooo still way out in front, 83 mass per tick so far. DrAnnhilation bringing up the rear with 72 mass per tick, and then 65 behind him for CaptainShrapnel. And not surprisingly, PhatStyle just tried to re-establish his base. Short stacking on 21.
Yeah, he's got to recover. But the good thing here is he's got some power from Andyroooo. And he's got a lot of reclaim, so as long as he gets his build capacity back, he'll be alright. And this is interesting from these mobile missile launchers from Shrapnel. He's shooting over the mountain.
I didn't even know that he could do that.
Maybe the tech to power would be really nice.
I always felt
if you get the right angle, if you get you can even use some tech to arty. I think people should use tech to arty a little more often here. You can really lob things into the enemy base. And it looks like a tech to transport with a couple Ilshavas. This would be really painful.
Although he's flying right over the inties. Will he get it off? It's gonna be close.
Oh, tragic.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was very close.
That's annoying.
This is why having these things synced up is so nice. We saw that at the exact same time.
Yeah, it's it just
looks like Shrapnel and Annihilation are rebuilding their base. Yeah, this is going to be very difficult for either player to knock them off. And we got to say there is an advantage. Oh, actually, both players have UEF. This is Cybern and Seraphim, but the two differences. I think Seraphim will give an advantage to Annihilation with the Tech 2 shields if they choose to use them.
Yeah. Shrapnel continuing a point defense creep, I think. He's got a few in there, and they're slowly each one a little bit further forward than the one before. Potentially like to work it outside the shield coverage. But flapjacks.
Yeah, this is where stealth is so powerful. You got to get stealth, and you can get a little further, because it's very difficult to get into the range of an enemy PD as long as they're paying attention. Another really good option for Shrapnel is to go Tech 3 with the UEF. If you get this couple of Ravagers down, you really begin to dominate.
See, guys, all of this information you miss out when it's just my cast. You get TA in here, and you're privy to all of the extra strategy, and it's you guys need to thank him, by the way, because
more of these later.
It's retarded o'clock for TA. What time is it over there?
It is. I don't know. It's retarded o'clock. Yeah, it should be fuck this shit o'clock, but it's not. Yeah, shit's fair. But yeah. So these mobile missile launchers, this is a huge amount of them from Shrapnel, and I think Andyroooo has actually lost quite a few of his tech to point defenses. So all those Ilshavas might just rush in. We see actually some tech to arty from Andyroooo.
Yeah, some Gunthers going up
continues
at the back
to do crazy things.
And look at the amount of T1 PD queued up at the front, just gone down in the last couple of seconds or so.
Yeah, that's emergencies. He's anticipating units coming into his base.
And unsurprisingly, a whole bunch of zappers queued up with them to counter this outrageous flapjack spam coming out from Shrapnel.
Yeah, and actually the Cyber and Tech 2 Artie's got so much splash. They'll be very good against this bunch of flapjacks here.
Do you think
we just saw a couple of shots there.
Yeah, do you think they're making a little bit of a mistake here by going all hell for leather, trying to cripple Andyroooo? Because all the time this is going on, PhatStyle is starting to get re-established in his space, and it wouldn't take much to run him over again.
Yeah, I think they should have repeated their previous strategy. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of difficult because they might think that if they leave Andyroooo, he's the main target, and they might be sensing that he is getting crippled.
But I mean, you could
this
take
could be a good opportunity.
You
for
could
them,
take 4 mobile missile launchers from Annihilation, and it really wouldn't cripple the power that much. But sitting up front, but look at the Gunthers, man. They're tearing up.
Yeah, those are excellent.
Holes in the mobile missile launchers.
I love Tech to Artie.
Yeah, man. They're very underrated. You don't see it get built enough.
For sure, and they're actually not. They're 2,000 mass, so they're the same as 2 Tech 2 mass extractors. But they have the range and they have the splash. I think they're totally worth it in some situations.
Team 2
and Tech 3 land now from
brutalized, absolutely brutalized by that artillery. But yeah, T3 now on the field, and Loyalists the order of the day, at least for the moment. But we do have Percivals coming in from Shrapnel at the same time.
And we have had a drop from Annihilation into PhatStyle's base, an Otham.
Oh yeah.
I'll say that, Seraphim unit.
There you go. That's a nice easy
one.
That was a perfect pronunciation. Teach Seraphim as a foreign language.
I'll teach you a couple words. There's a couple people do much better than me. And these Percys now, Percys are the worst units you want to see in the front of your base. And Andyroooo is going to try his luck. He's going to do some overcharge.
One of those Gunthers going down there from the Flapjacks. PhatStyle bringing in his own ACU to help see him off. Decent overcharge wouldn't go amiss, but it's going to have Triad's range on him very soon. Shrapnel's got some build capacity up there, assisting the comm on throwing that bad boy together. Definitely will be a good time for PhatStyle and Andyroooo to push out with the ACUs a little bit more. Don't want to let that get online.
Yeah, so much reclaim for Andyroooo. It's just beautiful. He has already got so much mass, but I think if he gets a little more build capacity here, he has a pretty good amount. He can make a lot of bricks here. I think he's in position to make a huge force and run everything over.
Be interested in getting your opinion on it though, while the game is continuing. Actually, having said that, Notha's coming in on Andyroooo, dropping him down to 4,400 HP. Luckily, he's got a decent air force of his own to cover him. A few more coming in though. However, circling, and this time going off to PhatStyle. They're not that bad, man. Notha's.
Well, they hit you pretty good. It's about 1,000 damage. They're very good.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to micro them properly, they're very nice.
But PhatStyle down to around 5,500 hit points. Andyroooo down to 3,500 hit points. Both
he needs to overcharge.
Forced back into their base. PhatStyle, does he have access to overcharge? No, he doesn't. No energy storage.
He does not.
Left.
Oh, he needs to get under the shield. Or Andyroooo needs to give him power storage here. That's what friends give friends. They give him power storage.
Yeah, but under pressure at the same time. Is he aware that PhatStyle doesn't have it? Is he getting out of dodge? Finally, that Otham goes down, but the mobile missile launchers once again sensing they can get a kill here, or at least cause more problems for PhatStyle, moving into his base. And now Janus overhead, this time from Shrapnel.
Yeah, PhatStyle still no power. And once again, PhatStyle finds himself in the middle of his base with nothing there except a lonely Tech 2 factory. This is where PhatStyle probably should have retreated into Andyroooo's base again, but
it's ACU versus Percival, and I think the Percy's gonna win. There it goes. 24 to 25 minutes. PhatStyle eliminated. Andyroooo finds himself all by his lonesome. Estimate Andyroo's chances of survival at this point in odds. What do you reckon?
I would say about 50-50 here. I mean, he is kind of all in the corner, but he's got so much reclaim, and he's got a very good looking Tech 3 factory. All those Tech 1 factories with the NG mod, you can turn them into Tech 3s, and you got all the hives. I think he could push out, although looking at CaptainShrapnel's base, He's got a Tech 3 air factory. He does not have the power to support it. Oh, he's got one Tech 3 power, but I think Strat Bombers would be nice. Yeah, those would really shift the odds, but
Fat Boy
they're not
under
making these Strat
construction
Bombers.
in his main base. Not a lot going on in DrAnnhilation's base at the moment, but talking about Eco, Andyroooo, 138 mass. Yes, that's less than the combined total of Team 2. But as I've said many times before, it's not necessarily about the total mass. You have large amounts of mass under the control of one player, especially the highest ranking player in this game. Don't forget, this is an average Joe's game, guys. Andyroooo just above the threshold for pro level, but I mean only just.
Yeah, Andyroooo is trolling some noobs here. Andyroooo is really good at this game. Yeah, you can't trust these ratings. I mean, he's been playing since like 2007.
It's kind of arbitrary, isn't it? The ranking system. Everyone would say it's a way to gauge slightly, but you can't infer everything from the score that someone's got on their rating. Loads of people just play ladder, some people just play team games, you know.
Exactly. It's, however, if you can get good teammates, you're gonna have high ratings.
Yeah.
And if you're an honest person and you don't stack, you're gonna have low ratings. That's the #1 thing. And then skill and everything else goes.
But
that's
look at
secondary.
this. Otham's coming in, drop right next to Andyroooo's comm, but will he get them off? No, he doesn't. A little bit too adventurous there. Too many interceptors present, coupled with the odd unit of flak.
Yeah, that was a ballsy move from Annihilation. That's really nice to see. Yeah, I think if you would have used this Nothus to pull away those interceptors, it would have been much more effective.
You see,
this is when you want to do these types of drops.
That's the little differences between kind of Joe and pro level. That kind of foresight to think, okay, he's got this, so I need to pull his units away to here, and then I'm going to launch the attack.
Yeah. If you would drop right now, it would have been much better when we saw all that tech to air come in, just clear out all the interceptors. This is the time to drop.
But look at that, all three air factories taken out there for Andyroooo. Nothers and Janus going to work, and a ton of build capacity surrounding that T3 land factory, getting absolutely brutalized.
Yeah, I want to revise my odds here. They're not about a 50-50. It's much worse.
He definitely doesn't want to lose that HQ.
The detective bomber.
Yeah, you did, man. I'm impressed.
Well, I have faith in Andyroooo because I've seen him do crazy things. And now the brick's actually giving me a little bit of faith here. Yeah, you don't want to disrespect the brick. The brick is a very strong unit.
Coupled with fire back here from the trebuchets as well, bombarding that front line from Team 2.
Yeah. A beautiful unit.
And that, surely that, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It was like 100 hit points, and there were more planes coming in from Shrapnel, but they were ASFs. There is one more Notha above the skies. Doesn't drop his bomb, though. And
yeah, Nothas don't drop their bombs half the time. It's like, oh, I'm going to win, and then suddenly it just flies by. It's like a scout. It's horrible.
Bricks.
Yeah, and one thing about the bricks, you got to use the range of the bricks. That's their biggest advantage among the Tech 3 units. You don't want to get in close fights. Although Percy has a really long range as well. You don't want to get close to other units with bricks. You stay at range and just hit. But it takes a little bit of micro, and I think now we're seeing all the bricks have been killed.
And still, that T3 factory is online. Nothas keep coming in, but they're just kind of hovering. They're not prioritizing the factory. They're taking a lot of flak, and before they even get a bomb off, they're generally falling out of the sky. That could be a really major blow to Team 2's campaign to end this game soon. If they'd have taken out that factory and the ability to produce T3.
Yeah, that would have been... This is one great thing about NGMod. That's another style of target, are the HQs. It's very annoying to lose these. Looks like another drop being readied by DrAnnhilation. He's been loving these.
Because you were, I think it's fair to say, a little bit unsure about the initial changes with NGMod. Now you've had a chance to play for a few months. What are your opinions of it?
I think it's an improvement in the game. I think it's really good. It's really changed some things. It changed... maybe there was a little bit of things lost, but I think overall it's a big improvement. Let's see, and yeah, this drop will be successful from Annihilation.
I know one
but
of your...
I think some engineers dropped in that base would be good.
I know one of your grievances was the ability to have T2 or T3 almost seemingly instantly anywhere on the field. Do you feel that's still an issue?
Yeah. I mean, it's being abused by people all the time now. I guess people think now it's a feature, which is fine. I mean, you can have your Tech 2, and then you're on some ledge somewhere far away on the map, and you can get your Tech 2 very quickly and start making cruise missiles. It actually makes the game maybe a little more dynamic. You can say you're now on the Tech 2 stage, you have Tech 2 everywhere. It took away a little bit from that transporting where you have to really plan out a drop, and you get those Tech 2 engineers somewhere. But that was always very dangerous to do, and it didn't actually happen that often. But now there's a lot more Tech 2 structures. It made the value of Tech 2 structures much more. So I think overall it's an improvement. I don't really have too many grievances with it.
Yeah, well, Andyroooo under pressure now. Mobile missile launchers still knocking on the front door. However, a Monkey Lord has been put together incredibly quickly. That's about to go online.
That was very fast, yeah.
And I gotta say, I like his chances of breaking out. Finally, they've been pinned back, Team 2, or Team 1, sorry, the entire game. But
yeah,
there's not a lot on the field up front. Yes, you've got a fair few triads in there. You've got the odd Percival, but not enough to, you think, instantly take a Monkey Lord out of the equation. There are, however, broadswords on the field, which are a pretty
broadswords are serious, and the spiders are just, the Monkey Lord is made out of paper. I mean, it takes 3-4 overcharges with a little bit of damage. It does have, I mean, you don't really want to do too much spider hunting with your ACU, but you can get out 2 overcharges, and you get a nice wreck for yourself. So I think it's very dangerous, experimental.
Failed drop again in exactly the same place there a minute ago with a few Othens from DrAnnhilation. But we are seeing...
I wonder if he'll try it again.
Shrapnel bugging out with his commander. He doesn't fancy sticking around to try your overcharge theory. He's going to get out of town, and I don't blame him.
Yeah,
probably what I'd be doing too, to be honest.
It's the smart thing to do. This is not what I would have done. I would have put more shields. You gotta put shields, Tech 1 point defenses, and then you gotta have the spider run into the Tech 1 point defenses as it chases you, and then you overcharge, and then you can kill a spider fairly quickly, unless it has a big entourage of bricks or something. And I mean, here you have the Tech 3. I think you could have done it. It would have been stupid if you would have done it, but you could have done it.
At the very least, the spider's going to clear that little fire base at the front, and bricks making their way. They're taking a little bit of flak there from some T2 gunships for a moment. Managed to clear that out thanks to all of the bangers that they're being escorted by. But the bangers aren't going to get in range, I don't think, in time. The Monkey Lord to save it from those broadswords. Down it goes. But that means basically Andyroooo is going to be free to finally capitalize on his teammates' base area, which... yeah,
I think that push was very important. It killed a whole bunch of very important structures. Yeah, and Andyroooo now has a double base, and that will really help him in catching up. And this is where, if that ACU would have stayed, he could have easily finished that spider much quicker.
33 minutes gone in this one so far. We'll take a look at how Andyroooo's been capitalizing on reclaim. Got DrAnnhilation, he's sitting on around 15.5k reclaim. CaptainShrapnel 27k, so he's been hoovering it up quite nicely. Andyroooo conversely 29k, so not actually as much in the lead on the reclaim side of things as you'd expect, considering all the combats that are going on.
He's got to get some NGs to work here. It's actually kind of surprising. One thing that Andyroooo needs to do here is get a lot more power. He's getting an anti-nuke, which is going to use up a lot of his power.
Building a soothsayer.
He really needs to start building up.
It's going to eat his power.
Oh man, he's going to power stall like crazy. I bet you his shields are going to start blinking.
Now, he's got
if they're not blinking, I'm very surprised.
He's got a threat again to the ridge. He's got some flapjacks he's got to be wary of. There are quite a lot of zappers, though, in play on that ridge thanks to the earlier attack, so he should be okay from there. Wave of ASFs coming over the top, but now there is some Myrmidons on the field, or at least one, I think, somewhere. It's also, there's 3 of them. There we go. 3 SAMs just going forward in pretty good anti-air coverage.
Yeah, that was a waste of SF. A lot of people do this, and I think they don't realize that just standing a single Take 3 scout is much cheaper and much more effective. I mean, you're just dropping dead ASFs, which are very expensive, especially in power. They're very expensive.
Well, it's just one of those things, though, as well, especially at this kind of level. People don't necessarily feel like they can afford maybe the extra actions per minute to, you know, add the actual spy plane into the queue that they haven't got, or maybe they just want the intel immediately. They don't want to have to wait to get that spy plane.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. And this is where you look at the best player, somebody like Blackheart. They have their base and their units organized so much.
Yeah.
They don't need too many actions per minute. The organization has already done it for them. And I think that's the thing that really separates the top from the good.
Blackheart, like all those Germans, hackers, a lot of them, intrinsically German nature makes them better at this game, because it's
I
all
think
about
it really helps in this game, yeah.
being methodical and balancing
For sure.
economies. That's like basically what Germans do.
Yeah, the organization factor there, it's huge. And it really makes a difference. That's why like the top 2 players in this game are German, Zoc and the Blackheart. And it seems like it's really easy for them somehow, and it kind of pisses me off. It's really weird.
Well, there's a lot of, because you've got Russian heritage, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm a mix of German and Russian.
Oh, there you go.
So I got both sides.
There you go. So you should feel proud, man. That's why you can play this game. I'm English, and
I
therefore
feel
I
proud
can't
that
play.
it's basically, yeah. Gordon is kind of getting good. I mean, he got some hope. If he continues to improve, I think he might get up there.
In the middle of a cast for everyone to hear. We are never going to hear the end of it. Gordon,
well,
TA's just being nice. Don't believe it. But T3 on the way for Andyroooo, and now completed, so he's joining the T3 air game, and that's going to be needed. Lots of engineers and stuff actually at the top for Team 2 working on a chicken, and that's going to get finished off pretty soon.
And I don't know if Andyroooo knows about that. That experimental will be a problem for Andyroooo. In terms of an air game, Andyroooo is extremely good with strat bombers and ASF. I think if Annihilation and Shrapnel decide to get into that type of battle, they'll be in a very big disadvantage.
But broadswords for
Yeah,
Shrapnel
Andyroooo actually
doing a good job of preventing Andyroooo from getting re-established in that second base, which we would have expected him maybe to have managed by now, but just not able to get it done. It's probably why he was going with initially with the T3 air. That's probably his primary concern ultimately, playing the skies so he can expand.
Yeah, and this is where the tech to flak would be nice, and I think it's already working for Andyroooo. Yeah, he's got a lot of that. Andyroooo's base actually looking very nice. He's got a whole bunch of power. He's getting a megalith. He's got an anti-nuke. He's very safe. I mean, he's pretty vulnerable to a strat snipe if you get something like 10 strat bombers.
We've got a couple.
But that's a very dangerous thing. Yeah, if you don't get those perfectly and Andyroooo gets a lucky dodge, you're going to be out a whole bunch of mass. But this chicken, that could be pretty dangerous as well, but I think the megalith will be finished in time.
Megalith sitting on 93.5k of its 110. So many hit points. I gotta say, I know I'm classically not a big fan of Cybrin, but the Megalith is by far and away my favorite ground experimental. It's amazing. It does everything. It's range, it's tank, it builds shit. It just... I want it. I want it for the...
Yeah, the Megalith is nice.
Go ahead.
The one thing I may not like about it compared to the chicken, the spider, and GC is actually the firepower. It's not as high. It doesn't have as much DPS. It can really tank a lot of hit points. So it can beat the other experimentals, but it won't get the job done quick. It's a very methodical unit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what's great about it, because you can get a few monkeys out front, assuming it's a late game enough and it's moved heavily into the experimental phase. You get a few chickens out front and use the Megalith kind of like as an intermediary fat boy style unit to bombard from behind, and hopefully that's all of your opponent's defense is gone by the time that thing has to take fire. It can really
shift a lot of battles. There's a lot of situations where it will win the game for you.
Strap bomb is coming in at the bottom now for Shrapnel. He's leading with his ASFs first of all, and they're going to go straight after that T3 air factory that Andyroooo has been working so hard to get online. It lands on top, but the collateral damage takes out a good 7 or 8 T1 engineers, I think. sitting around the bottom. Now we've got more.
Yeah, that was not the best placement. This is where you got to hit the engineers. And this is also where you really want to have the Cyber Bomber. If those two were Cyber Bombs, there would not be any more engineers there. But that's the disadvantage of UEF.
And let's not forget the Revenant with its stealth makes it incredibly easy to get into dangerous places.
Yeah, Gordon should know something about Deck 3 Cyber Strat Bombers. Yeah, he should definitely know something.
That's a little private joke, isn't it?
Something happened to him.
Something happened to him
ago.
recently.
Yeah.
Did you do something to him, TA?
Yeah, he thought he was gonna win.
Do I need to call social services? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think unless he was really hurt, nobody has to know.
Anyway, back to Sopcom. Are you surprised his chicken hasn't gone in yet?
Yeah, I think it's actually a smart move. It's just holding there. I think if it would have went in, it would have been a nice wreck for Andyroooo.
There are a lot of bricks on the field, but it's given him time to get that Megalith online.
Yeah, and I think Andyroooo here, if he gets ASF, wins air, he can pick off. These bases are very unprotected. You see, there's no shields, so a couple surgical strikes with Strat Bombers, and it's basically over for Annihilation and Shrapnel. Meanwhile, Andyroooo is much more well protected.
And that chicken's actually going the other way. Very disinterested in this whole combat thing.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a dancer.
Much less aggressive than the ACUs. Yep, it's just gonna dance. Well, dancing is better than being a soldier in this game, for sure. Dancing skills are very important.
It
looks like Wasa.
Go ahead.
Oh, the Wasa, the ass washer from Annihilation, and that could win the game. But that's cost 50,000 mass. That's basically almost twice as much as a chicken.
So chances of getting online now that Andyroooo has got ASS, and they're almost instinctively gravitating over towards that way. They don't know exactly, but flying overhead, of course, it still has the air signature while it's on the ground, so those ASFs able to attack. Did we have a round of spy planes out earlier on?
Yeah.
Andyroooo must have seen that somehow.
Yeah, I don't know if he... I mean, he's definitely seen it now, but I'm not sure how he knew about it. He may have just decided to go scout. One thing he probably saw is the engineers. Oh, well, that's tragic. But he probably saw the engineers around the Wasa, and he thought that it's probably a good idea to check out what's happening.
Yeah. So that Megalith pushing
now the
out.
Megalith actually moving out as well. 14 kills. And there is a bit of splash on there on those shots, which works very well against the Perseus. Yeah, and Andyroooo taking over PhatStyle's old base, and I think Andyroooo's very surprised. Andyroooo's actually kind of stopped teching. I think he kind of feels very confident. He's really evened out this game. I think now I can take my odds back and say it's 50-50.
It's 50-50, but I mean, the overall mass, I know we were saying before, it doesn't matter. The overall mass still with Team 2, but it's what you do with that. And when it's all in the hands of one player, and it's a game where you only have to take out one unit to eliminate people, you know, it can make a real difference.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, just because you got a bunch of mass doesn't mean that you're gonna get some. Just like if you have a whole bunch of money, doesn't mean you can buy things. You gotta have connections for all that. CSF. And really no plans for Annihilation and Shrapnel. They're really out of ideas. And I think this is something that happens to newer players, is that they haven't been in certain situations for forever. They've only been to late stage games a few times, and rarely, and they actually kind of get lost. And it's actually a big advantage when you've been to this late stage. You know exactly what will happen. It's not like the first stage where everybody knows what the Tech 1 tanks do or what the ACU upgrades are. And here I think a bit of a mistake perhaps from Andyroooo attacking with those. Yeah, the chicken killing the bricks quite easily.
Yeah, they didn't really stand a chance there. It was a lot of bricks, but not enough with that many Othams sitting right in front of it.
Yeah, but the Megalith taking care of the Perseus.
Down goes T2 Mechs. Very brave Percy and Flapjack facing off right up front. And
that's
Shrapnel
not going to happen.
backing up way into his main base. That fat boy has been under construction forever, but still only around 65% done or so. And the megalith now in a dangerous situation. You can see that chicken and those Othams being brought back from the top aperture. They're going to need all of that firepower to stop the progression on that. Of course, all this time, this is just buying more room and time for Andyroooo to build up. He's working predominantly, I suppose, on his Air Force at the moment.
Yeah, this game has really slipped away from Annihilation and Shrapnel. I don't think much can stop this megalith. I think this chicken, if it dies by the megalith, it can stop it otherwise. And I think the megalith should be just going into the base. Instead, the megalith wants to fight against the chicken. I'm kind of surprised.
What's the
and
command?
It's not like Andyroooo doesn't know what's happening.
To get that megalith to back up firing without turning around and walking away.
If you hold shift, you can see there's multiple move orders right underneath the megalith.
Yeah.
So it gets confused. It just starts creeping back.
You see, it's
but
all
it's
these
very
little
useful,
things.
as you can
That's
see.
incredibly useful. Covered retreat.
Yeah, the megalith does not shoot backwards. That's one disadvantage of it.
Yeah.
But here it's basically kiting. This is like Aurora versus a striker, but on a more massive scale. Yes, and if that chicken dies far away from the megalith, it's not nearly as effective.
Well, there it goes, but the Otham's doing quite a lot of damage. It's under 20k hit points now and actually shedding hit points. Yeah, I think they're going to get the job done, which is good news for Team 2. They don't want that creeping into their base.
They need the veterancy. I actually think it was very close to getting some veterancy. It's either 50 kills, although with this veterancy, the new system, I think it's better, but it's so much more difficult to predict.
It is. Commentating has made our
happen.
lives just so much harder. I'd love some better kind of UI to explain how far or how many points, I don't know, it'd be away from hitting the next level. But
yeah, I think that's probably the key, is if it would tell you next level is in this instead of saying like 50 out of 70 or something, and then you don't know how many points you're going to get in the next shot. And actually, overall, this was a victory. This is definitely a victory for Annihilation and Shrapnel. Now they have two nice chunks of mass, which they're going to hoover up here pretty quickly.
Engineers swarming on those wrecks. And what is it, like 80% or so on the wreck? Because I've mentioned it a few times.
I think it's actually even more. And I think it actually varies from unit to unit. If you look at the unit database, it tells you how much the wreck is, I believe. And I think it's between 80 and 90. I don't really know.
I don't know. I've always maintained that it penalizes attackers a little bit too hard. That the mass reclaim value shouldn't be quite as high as it is, at least on the experimentals. I think it works nicely for the large continuous battles that are going on. And the mass fields that you can reclaim from that, but it just feels like players are forced to hold back so much because if they lose, they're handing such a big, valuable chunk of mass to their opponent.
This is especially true on Setness, and this is something that Zlo brought up on forums a week or two ago, where he said that the reclaim rate should really be decreased. So you can have that total mass there, but you don't get it in a minute. It'll take you 5 to 10 minutes to get it, and that way you kind of those two wrecks will become a battlefield that
See, I think that's
would
nice.
last for the next 5-10 minutes. I think it would. I think it would really change things, and it would. Just like as you said, it wouldn't penalize attackers as much.
But nuke online for Andyroooo, working on that missile. Do we have strategic missile defense in the bases for Team 2? That is the question.
I don't see anything. They're very empty bases. I think they haven't looked at their bases first 30 minutes of the game. They were paying attention to their ACUs, and now they look very kind of deserted.
There is a strategic missile defense for DrAnnhilation, but I think CaptainShrapnel might be missing one. He has finally managed to complete that fat boy, which is rolling out thanks to the mass dump, I think, on their side of the map.
Yeah, that was a gift. Yeah, but looking at all of this ASF, total air domination, Andyroooo could actually win this game now because those ACUs are not under any shields. A couple strat bombers and this is basically over. There is some Tech 3 anti-air scattered here and there from Shrapnel, but you just need actually pretty good placement on the Fields of Isis. Putting Tech 3 anti-air in the middle is always very nice. That's where usually all the battles take place.
Sure.
Looks like a bit of a drop from Andyroooo as well.
Lots of bricks at the southern aperture. And they're going to want to get in there and try and kill off some of these engineers, although they've nearly completed their mission. That crab virtually reclaimed now.
Yeah, and that's something like 40,000 mass, something along those lines. Yeah, it definitely will pay for your fat boy. It'll pay for something like a satellite, or a whole bunch of strats, and it looks like a whole bunch of energy storage as well for DrAnnhilation, building some crazy things here. What exactly is he getting? He's got teleport.
Hello.
He's got teleport, and he's getting something else.
So we could be about to
Something
see a telecom snipe.
Yeah, it's kind of getting desperate for them, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I mean, one thing they need to realize, they don't have air, and they must feel really unsafe here, and they haven't invested into shields. So the telesnipe is always a good option, although I'm surprised if Andyroooo is not ready for it. Yep. And when you see that many spy planes over you, you gotta be thinking something bad's gonna happen. That's when you gotta instinctively start making point defenses around your ACU.
And the teleport activated.
There's no reason not to. Yeah, this is
And it's right next to Andyroooo's comm, the beacon. Question is he paying attention?
Andyroooo needs... I don't think he is. Probably grabbing another beer or something like that. He's like, this game's over. I'm gonna go take a 5-minute break, wait for my nuke to finish, and when you come back, you're dead. That might be happening, because I don't think Andyroooo is really giving any orders here. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Teleport
but he's got a new friend here.
Annihilation right next door to Andyroooo. There's one Cerberus turret that's in range, but Annihilation with a pretty hefty backpack on him. I'm assuming he's got the
yeah, he's got
regen.
both guns. He's
got
doing a
both
lot of
guns.
damage.
Andyroooo
Yes,
throwing
you can
together.
see every shot. And some overcharges. Andyroooo needs to use those hives
It's going to
make
close.
point defenses and shields.
Annihilation dropping down into the red. 2,000 hit points and falling. Andyroooo though also in the red, and below 1,000 it's going to be a simultaneous detonation.
He almost got into a shield.
Oh man.
And I bet you that sucks for Andrew. Yeah, that's a horrible feeling to go down like this, and it happens so much in this game. This game has ability to give you false sense of security.
Yeah.
You're winning and all this, and suddenly you die because you didn't think of something stupid.
Yeah.
Or sometimes your ACU just wanders off, and then you're wondering what the hell is it doing out there, and then you die. It's a good and bad at the same time.
It's the nature of the thing, though. I mean, you get in front and your opponent loses ground, and then they think, right, well, I'm going to lose. I have to go for an all-in. I have to go for the snipe. And, you know, okay, maybe 60% of the time or 50% of the time it works. The rest of the time it doesn't. But still, that's incredibly painful when you're that far ahead and then you lose it. I think certainly I've always had a gripe with the whole tele-snipe thing. I don't understand why we haven't implemented a teleport inhibitor like they have in Black Ops. It needs to go in.
Well, there is one. You just make point defenses.
Well,
it's possible. It's just I mean, yeah. I think there's some really cool units in Black Ops. I think if the teleport inhibitor had, if I don't know how much power it costs, I would understand it if it has high power costs where you can either snipe it, which would be another really good target, or you hit the enemy power and the enemy thinks that you're not going to teleport. So I think it would add to the game.
Because I mean, the thing is, like, fair enough, you can make point defense, but if you're going up against certainly a Cybran Masercom, you know, and it's a team game, they can afford to lose a player if you're the last one, like in this case, and you take it out, they still win. You know, so
yeah,
I don't know.
There are situations, that you can make the argument. I can see that.
I just feel like everything should be
when
counterable.
The share is on,
you know.
Yeah, and I think this is where it's kind of. I think having that anti-teleport would kind of take away some things where a really weak team trying to come back at the end, where the really strong team basically just takes away that option.
Yeah.
It would take away a couple comebacks.
Sure.
Something I don't know if Andyroooo would. If he didn't make point defenses, he probably wouldn't make the anti-teleport. And if it was something like an experimental unit, I think that's another place where this game can grow is defensive experimental units. Something like a defensive anti-air. So something like an Awasa, but maybe for taking out groups of ASF would be really nice for those massive air battles.
It'd be amazing, but you wouldn't get it past the anti-turtlers on the board of balance.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. Yeah. The board of balance. I think it's actually overall, I'm thinking they've done some good things, the people taking care of balance in this game. Overall, they've done good, but it's very difficult to get any ideas into this game.
It is.
They're really protective of it, which is good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand it's a great game. But anyway, guys, time to call it a day there. As always, more to come from us in the future. Don't forget, you can check out this cast on not only my channel, but also TA4Life as well, if you want an alternative camera viewpoint. If you decide that one of us sucks with the mouse work, you can check out the other one sucking as well. But anyway, at the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle and TA signing out.
So go on.